This video takes a quick look at the 1 and 2 sample hypothesis testing contained in the SPC for Excel package, as well as a power curve analysis. These are under the Statistical Tools panel on the SPC for Excel ribbon under Sample Test. Simply select that, and you have our options. You have the 1 sample C&T test for a mean, the 1 sample variance test, C&T test for the difference in two means, and then t-test for the paired sample conversion. Then we have 1 proportion and 2 proportions test, and we have our power and sample size analysis, which we're going to take a look at first. To generate a power curve versus sample size, what you do is you select the power and sample size option from Samples Test input box, select OK, and then you come up and you select which sample you're going to run. And let's say we're going to do the 1 sample t-test. And it comes up, and let's say our standard deviation we know is 5. And what we like to do is be able to figure out what sample size it takes to perhaps detect a difference of 1/2 standard deviation of 0.25, or maybe 1 standard deviation of 5, or a standard deviation of 10. And we want a power of 0.9. So you enter that information, select OK, and your 1 sample t-test power curve is generated. And you can see here's the power versus the difference we want to detect. And here's n equals 5. That's probably for the difference to detect of 10. Here is the difference for 13, which is the difference of the 1 standard deviation, and 44 is the difference for 1/2 a standard deviation. The results are summarized over on this Power SPC for Excel worksheet. So each time you run one of these, you'll get the output here. Difference to detect 10. Sample size you need is 5. The power we wanted is 0.9. We calculate the actual power. So this is how you generate power and sample size curves using the SPC for Excel software. Okay, now let's take a look at how we do the 1 or 2 sample test. You begin by entering some data into an Excel spreadsheet. Suppose we have 2 processes, process 1 and process 2, and we want to determine if they operate at the same average. Perhaps they're 2 machines. So we enter our data into an Excel spreadsheet for process 1 and the same for process 2. And then we select the data, and what we're going to do is go up to our Statistical Tools on the SPC for Excel ribbon, select Sample Test, and it gives us all the tests that we have available. And this is a Z and T test for the difference in two means. Set that, select OK, and then you get your input form. We've already entered our data into an Excel spreadsheet. Here's process 1, here's process 2. We can use Summarize Statistics. It picks automatically if you're going to do a t-test or a z-test based on the sample size. You can change that. We're going to leave that as a t-test. We have our process names, and include hypothesis testing. Yes, we're going to include that because we want to determine, is there a difference from 0 in the 2 process means. Some output options we won't worry about. Select OK, and we generate our results. Here is the name of the test that we're doing. We have the null hypothesis, which is that the 2 means are equal, and the alternate hypothesis, which the 2 means are not equal. And here are the actual calculated means, 49.98 and 49.58, and that's what we're asking. Are these two the same, or are they different? And of course you have your variation, standard deviation, your sample size, the actual difference in means, whether or not we're dealing with equal variances, and so forth. But the key thing you want to look at is this p-value down here. Because the p-value, if it's less than 0.05, it says that there's a significant difference in the two means. And in this case, the p-value is 0.0022. Comes up in red, so that tells you that there is a significant difference. But it also prints out the conclusion from this test down here. There is evidence that the difference in means is not equal to 0. So this is the type of output you have for any of the tests that you have, whether it be the 1 sample, the 2 sample, the paired sample conversion, or the proportions test. So that's how you do sample testing and hypothesis analysis using the SPC for Excel software. Thank you for watching the video.